and will conclude on September 5 with deep commitment from African governments and all relevant stakeholders to implement measures to promote African youth in sustainable agriculture in order to achieve zero hunger and food security. Speaking at the opening ceremony, the President of the Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa, AGRA, Alice Ruweza, called on African leaders and investors to commit to the realization of the $100 billion Kampala Comprehensive African Agricultural Development Program, CATP, to attain food security and sustainability.
Even as we are acutely aware of the task at hand and the challenges we face, let us be inspired by the progress that we are seeing in Africa. Smallholder farmers are adopting new technologies like drought-resistant seeds, mobile-based market information, smart irrigation systems, and increasing productivity. Women who form the backbone of Africa's farming communities are stepping into leadership roles, and they are driving innovation. You will see many of them tomorrow when we celebrate the Women's Entrepreneurship of the Year awards. Moreover, the youth are engaging with agriculture in fresh and dynamic ways. Agribusiness startups, digital platforms, and sustainable farming practices are reshaping the story of agriculture, and you will see examples of these in the Agri-Food Expo. But we know we're not there yet. We know that we must confront challenges that persist. We still have millions of people going hungry. We still have malnutrition, and we still are importing over 70 billion a year of food. We know we still have young people who remain unemployed, and we still have some infrastructure gaps.
Well, we'll bring you more conversation in the course of our bulletin on that story. Well, staying on, let's go to Ghana now, where President John Mahama has announced new steps to calm tensions in the Salaboli area of the Savannah region after fresh clashes erupted between the Gonja and Brifo communities. The president has dispatched a high-level delegation led by the Interior Minister to engage traditional authorities and key stakeholders. The move was announced in a statement from the presidency. From Accra, Nati Detete reports.
According to the presidency, President Mahama was fully briefed by the National Security Coordinator and the Interior Minister on the conflict upon his arrival. While abroad, he also held a phone discussion with the King of Gunja, Yagbongura B. Kunuto Jewu Sauli I, on measures to end the clashes and secure lasting peace. In line with this, security has been reinforced with the deployment of additional police and military personnel. The presidency further appealed to all sides to support ongoing peace efforts, stressing that dialogue remains the key to resolving outstanding disputes. Speaking to the media after a closed-door meeting with the Yagbonura at the Jakpa Palace in Damongo on Sunday, Interior Minister Muntaka Mohamed Mubarak, who led a team dispatched to the area by President Mahama, reaffirmed the government's commitment to restoring peace to the area.
The His Royal Highness have given us assurance that they are going to cooperate with the security agencies to ensure that all these things are brought to an end. So be rest assured that, we are just calling on all the feuding factions to understand that nothing can be compared to peace. Once we all agree to sit down and begin talking, I'm sure all these things will be a thing of the past. Now we are even combining not only the immigration, but the military and the police, and they are patrolling the whole of our stretch. We are also engaging our colleagues across the borders, in Burkina Faso and Cote d'Ivoire, for all of us to hold the line, to just ensure that we do not necessarily cross to create problems for each other.
With the backing of traditional authorities and renewed security presence, the government hopes its peace-building efforts will finally bring stability to the affected areas in the Savannah region. For WADR, Nadidi Tete, Accra.
To diplomatic relations story now, a U.S. Congress delegation led by Senator James Austin Scott has visited Burkina Faso, meeting on Friday with the president of the Transitional Legislative Assembly. Discussions focus on security and development. Christopher Teacher report.
Talks between the U.S. delegation and the Transitional Legislative Assembly centered on development and security, issues that remain critical for Burkina Faso and other AES countries facing both insecurity and development challenges. Here is Senator James Austin Scott speaking during the visit.
We had a wonderful discussion with the Speaker.
We came to meet the President of Parliament, together with Democratic and Republican representatives, and held a very constructive discussion In a spirit of unity, Democrats and Republicans sought to demonstrate our support for the country in strengthening both its economic and security partnerships. I believe this represents one of the first steps in the right direction. We also addressed the issue of agriculture, ensuring that the country has the necessary resources to feed its population. Furthermore, we discussed the security situation across Burkina Faso with the objective of supporting efforts to improve safety and stability throughout the territory.
The visit comes as Burkinabe authorities highlight progress in the fight against terrorism. According to Defense Minister General Celestine Simpori, 72% of the national territory is now under state control. He also reported that more than 1 million internally displaced persons have returned to their areas of origin.
That was a report from our Ouagadougou correspondent, Martin Kaba, and presented by Christopher Teacher. Now, let's take to Janiajo, where earlier, a few minutes ago, we spoke with Abdullah Hassan, who was leading the news team there, and we asked him about what will be the expectation of this event and the commitment that will be made by the African leaders present.
Well, like you rightly said, Imo, it's a crucial moment for Africa, but precisely West Africa, given that we contribute less to climate change, but yet we are at the receiving end of it. So where we stand right now, the emphasis is that in addition to climate change, conflict, war, and insecurity is depriving millions and millions of people, particularly women, youth, and the vulnerable groups, of adequate nutrition, food security, and of course, job security. So the focus now is about how to make Africa food sufficient, but aside that also, for those local markets, that market, give them a market space. For those having issues of farming, look for affordable, simple farming techniques that would apply and work regardless of their location or region. And of course, today we're in an era where technology is becoming more and more integrated into our daily lives. Also take a look at AI today, for instance. So issues of early warning detection systems, for instance, weather forecasting, seed testing and engineering. So these are all issues that the Africa Food System Forum 2025 is looking at. But for them, again and again, the emphasis is enough of the talking, but more of action.
We've been seeing a lot of talking. I mean, last year alone, they had several convergences of this nature. Now, the focus of this year's summit is on youth-driven initiatives or solution to agriculture. Now, tell us more about that, and maybe just to add, what should people expect in the coming days?
Well, let me start with the last question, and then I will maybe apply the reverse technique, go upward to your first question. So at least what people expect in the coming days until the summit ends on September 5 is that there will be different platforms and sessions to discuss issues of critical importance that affect the young people in particular. So what are we looking at? We are looking at issues of financing and deal for small agripreneurs with very good experience on farming and interest, but yet like the financing opportunities, they are going to have platform to engage with investors from within the continent and outside, and of course having organizations like the United Nations, FAO, or WFP, and other NGOs and CSOs guide their actions. There's going to be a lot of engagement also with women and youth groups. There's going to be a focus also on the inclusion of young people in particular in attaining sustainable development goals, or the SDGs. There's going to be education, a roundtable, and a clearer roadmap discussion on understanding climate resilience and adapting, or rather mitigating some of the impact. And like I said before, there's going to be also an opportunity for people to discuss on regional markets, and essentially where we are today, given that more and more people are unable to at least afford 3 daily meals because of inflation, insecurity, or climate change. The discussion is how can people have maybe 2 square meals, but then for it to be rich and serve their nutritional needs.
Indeed, Abdullah Hassan there. We'll be bringing you updates of that event in our subsequent bulletins. You're listening to Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio 94.9 FM Dakar and online at wadr.org. Here is a reminder of the top stories. Reactions trail Benin's ruling party's choice of economist Wadr as Talon's successor for 2026 polls. Senegal hosts African Food Systems Forum 2025 in Diamniadio. Ghana's President Mahama deploys measures to quell tensions in Solabole. And still ahead in the news, University of Liberia strike over unresolved pay and promotion dispute. We do have the press review, a guest interview, and sports news. Please stay with us.
West Africa Democracy Radio. It's you speaking.
Don't forget, we are streaming live on wadr.org and follow our visual streaming on YouTube and Facebook. Now, on the labor front, academic activities at the University of Liberia have been brought to a standstill as faculty members have unanimously voted to suspend all teaching duties. The University of Liberia Faculty Association announced the decision following an emergency General Assembly citing a long list of unresolved grievances with the UL administration and the Liberian government. Key issues fueling the strike include store facility promotions, disputes over salary adjustments, concerns affecting study leave for faculty, and persistent delays in salary payment. WDL's Monrovia correspondent Ibrahim Parker reports.
The faculty is demanding a comprehensive and legally binding collective bargaining agreement that addresses all outstanding issues. They are calling on the University of Liberia administration and the government to enter into good faith negotiations to resolve the crisis. The UL administration has yet to issue a formal response to the strike action. However, the Student Unification Party, a camp-based political party, says Dr. Lady Mapayo, as president of the university over the last 7 months since her appointment, has poorly managed the operations of the university.
She has betrayed the confidence of the student community, faculty, and Liberian people. The University of Liberia is a standstill because of the inability of Madam Maproblem to manage the nation's premier institution of higher learning. It has been more than 7 months, yet she cannot effect any concrete change on the campuses of the University of Liberia.
The party, in an address meetings after the University Faculty Association declared the strike action, called for the resignation of the university's president, citing incompetence and bad labor.
So demand that the inability of Dr. Maproblem to revert to a 10 semester schedule allow all students to attend freely are part of reason she must step down as president of the University of Liberia. Dr. Maproblem has failed the students.
The strike action will affect all campuses of the University of Liberia, disrupting classes, research projects, and other academic functions. Students are now facing uncertainty as the academic calendar is thrown into disarray. For Newslink on WADR, Abraham Parker, Monrovia.
This is the newspaper review. Stay abreast and find out what the top stories are in your country.
This is the newspaper review.
The newspaper review.
Well, we head back to Nigeria to join us Panamara for the newspaper review.
Hello and welcome to the press review segment from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. Today we'll be looking at the following newspapers: Daily Trust, Punch, Vanguard, The Guardian, and Business Day. But let's begin with the headline that dominates across all the papers: the increase in Nigerian passport fees. Starting today, September 1st, Nigerians will have to pay 100,000 naira. That's about $66 for a 5-year, 32-page passport. For the 10-year, 64-page booklet, the cost has doubled to 200,000 naira, which comes to roughly around $133. Daily Trust and Vanguard reports that the Nigerian Immigration Service says the hike is necessary to sustain reforms and improve passport services nationwide. But rights groups are not convinced. Both Punch and The Guardian highlight the strong reaction from SERAP, that is the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, which argues the move is unfair and unconstitutional. SERAP has even written to President Bola Tinubu asking him to reverse the increase, describing it as a violation of citizens' right to freedom of movement. Vanguard draws attention to Kaduna, where the African Democratic Congress, that is the ADC, is accusing the police of mishandling violence that broke out during one of its inauguration events. The incident raises questions once again about security agencies and their ability to remain impartial in political matters. Now, beyond politics, The Guardian spotlights Nigeria's bid for a seat on the International Maritime Organization's Council for the 2026 to 2027 session. The paper notes that Switzerland has formally declared its support for Nigeria's candidacy. Securing a place in the IMO's Category C would boost Nigeria's international profile in maritime governance, which is critical given the importance of our ports and coastal lines for trade across West Africa. Let's not forget international relations. While the U.S. celebrates Labor Day today, Punch reminds Nigerians that the U.S. Embassy and consulate in Nigeria will be closed. It may be a small note, but it's important for those with appointments, especially as the visa process remains a hot-button issue for many Nigerians seeking to travel for education and work opportunities abroad. And this is the much we have for you on this segment today as I return you back to the studios.
Many thanks, Usman Umar.
Politics, analyses on major news, social matters, and all. This is A Guest.
Well, let's take you back to Benin on Romuald Wadagni's election. We asked political expert Morgan Ashogba whether Romuald Wadagni truly has unanimous backing within the majority.
Well, let's start by saying that the gentleman is a well-equipped gentleman in terms of knowledge, in terms of ability, and in terms of skills, because he has been focused in the financial world. He grew up in Benin and spent some qualitative time abroad because he studied in France and then moved to the US, where he ended up getting some good certificate from Oxford. And then he has been one of the key actors, youngest actors of the well-known firm called Deloitte. So he has a very interesting professional background, which justifies somehow the reason why he has been leading the Ministry of Economy and Finance. So when you look at that and you look at the political environment, it is difficult to attach to him any other political background different from what he just did the 10 past years as minister. And he was not too much in the political field. He was mostly in the technical areas, and it appears that his skills has allowed Benin to raise a lot of funds abroad and from some key actors, financial actors.
Is this like a general endorsement?
It's too early to say that it is a general endorsement, because when you look at those who have been into politics and who have been strongly involved in the leadership of President Patrice Talon, he was not obviously the one that people who have accommodated to be the one being chosen by the two political parties. But it is something that came out, and the coming days will let us really see if it is a general endorsement or some people are just quiet because of some political parties' internal deals that we are not aware of. Indeed. But as it stands right now, it is the choice of the political parties, and obviously one of the key actors that the president is supporting to stand for the coming elections.
Wadagni's main rival in the April 2026 election is likely to be the candidate of the Democrats. That's the party of former President Thomas Boniyaye. But their candidate is not known yet. You think whoever they may bring up will stand a chance with this man that is from the ruling party and also well known in the economic world?
I think any candidate that will come out today will stand a chance if there is no general endorsement within the two political parties backing up the ruling party or the ruling leadership. So if it comes to the public knowledge that there are some disagreement within the political parties and there are some political deals that goes on before the elections, any other candidate with a solid political background could stand a chance. But if ever...
Oh, that was Morgan Ashogba, a political expert. All right, in sport news, Morocco clinched their third African Nations Championship CHAN title after defeating Madagascar in the final, confirming their dominance in the competition. The Atlas Lions had earlier edged Senegal 5-3 on penalties in the semi-final following a 1-0 draw after extra time. Madagascar, reaching the final for the first time after a historic win over Sudan, settled for silver, while Senegal claimed bronze by beating Sudan in their third-place playoff. The 8th edition of CHAN, co-hosted for the first time by Kenya, Tanzania and Uganda, featured a record 19 teams. Since its launch in 2009, CHAN has seen multiple-time winners, including DR Congo and Morocco, with Tunisia, Libya and Senegal also lifting the trophy in past editions. And that's it on this edition of Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, 94.9 FM Dakar. Thank you for listening, and many thanks to Falilu Soal and Ismaila Kamara for the technical support. Let's keep the conversation coming on all of our social media platforms, X, Instagram, TikTok at WDR English. Coming up at the bottom of the hour is our flagship health program, Well Buddy. I am Imo Edet. Good afternoon.
And many thanks to you for listening to Newslink via Hot 104.3 FM, New Me FM 94.0,
Hilltop Radio 104.7 FM,
and Veritas Radio 102.9 in Banjul, the Gambia. We also appreciate our listeners in Liberia via Alternative Youth Radio 98.9 FM, Lofa County,
Radio Kaigama 94.5 FM, Nibe County, DCN Radio 91.3 FM, Riverside County, Wakat FM Radio, Banga, Liberia, Radio Gulf FM 91.3 Sierra Leone in Nigeria, and Love 104.5 FM Abuja.
For you listening via Radio Pad 95.1 Damango, Savannah region, and on Royals FM 104.7 Wenchi, Ghana, we say a big thank you. Remember, West Africa Democracy Radio is all about you